Here we go, Rabbi Isai. Baruch Hashem. Rosh Hashanah, something amazing happens. If you open up the Bible, the Torah, and you read the beginning of the creation of man, it says that man was created from an Adama, created from the earth, mix a little bit of earth, some mayim, create like a mud man. And that's the way we were. Until something wondrous happened. V'yipach be'apav nishmas chayim. And God blew into that creature, blew into that man a living soul. And at that point we became animated, we became alive, with a ruach mamalala, with a soul that could speak, a soul that would be a piece of God. And every single year in Rosh Hashanah, that energy is happening once again, that we go from being some type of a Homo sapien, caveman creature, and on that day we get a godly soul rejuvenated inside of us. Which means that on that day, the power of your soul is very, very strong because it's getting blown back into you once again. And therefore it's very, very important on Rosh Hashanah to use your soul properly, the one that was just blown back into you. And the whole year is going to depend on that. And specifically, the soul is a speaking soul. That's why people are very careful what they talk about on Rosh Hashanah. Very careful what you talk about on Rosh Hashanah. Talk about holy things, good things. Use your speech, because that's what makes you special. That's why when Adam is created, after the soul is blown into him, what's the first thing that Adam does? He starts davening. He starts praying. Right after the soul is blown in, Adam sees that there's no grasses, there's no... Contrary to what people think in the creation story, on day 3, trees and beautiful grasses as far as the eye can see, and orchards. Adam came into a world that was more of a desert. All the things were created, but they were right under the surface. They had sprouted just so slightly. So Adam comes into a world that looked more like a savanna. What was missing? There's one thing that was missing. Rain. Well, why didn't God just make it rain? Because God wanted the human to come into the world that could appreciate the need for rain and could talk to God about that and say, God, we need rain. And at that point, Adam said to Hashem, we need rain. And what do you think happened? Oh yeah. So we are going to be davening a lot for rain, starting on Shmini Atzeres. There's a big discussion. Maybe you should start asking for rain at the beginning of Sukkot. Why don't we do that? My Sukkah party is going to be a bit, rainy. So instead of doing it then, we wait until the end of Sukkot, and then we go for it. We say special blessings, yes, for rain.
You said there was a lot of rain. How much? Just like your average a lot, or was flood level a lot?
A solid amount, not like Hashem Yirachem, may God have mercy when there's too much rain. Not like flood level of rain, because when there's flood level of rain, that means destruction. No, rain always represents chesed. Right? Chesed means good, means kindness. Chesed doesn't just mean, a person wears a shirt, like I'm a chesed boy, I can help you with your groceries, I do chesed, right? So, you know what the Torah calls chesed? A bit of a crazy thing I'm about to say, I hope you guys are mature enough to hear this. You know what the Torah calls chesed? It says that when a man has intimate relations with his sister, chesed hu. That's chesed. Wait a second, I thought chesed was like the t-shirt and carrying the groceries and being a really nice, guy and doing chesed, visiting the sick. What does that have to do with having, incest? Because chesed means, Baruch Hashem, I was in the Niagara Falls this summer, and wow, that is amazing. So I was talking to my kids, and I was very thirsty because we were on the road for a while, traveling in the car, and I said to them, I'm very thirsty. Maybe I should just, I need some water. So what better place to find some? I'll just take my Nalgene bottle. I'll just reach in there and get some water, right? Drew, is that a good idea?
Totally.
What? Yeah? You need water. Go big. Get some water, right? Zam, what do you say? It's a good place to get some water? Absolutely. Go for it. What's going to happen to my Nalgene bottle? It's not going to be much of a Nalgene bottle anymore. We can appreciate that there's such a thing, that's just overwhelming. Chesed means unbridled flow. Just mega energy coming into the world. So what do I need? I need something called Gevura. What's Gevura? So I know it's true, Gevura is strength. But what does it mean?
Restriction.
Gevura means when God is creating the world, He has this massive amount of energy. And that massive amount of energy would not allow for a relationship to happen. How would I relate to God? God is much bigger than Niagara Falls. There couldn't be a me in the Niagara Falls. It's just, we didn't do it because we were traveling to see family members, but we looked down and we see the Maid of the Mist, you know that one? And everyone's with the ponchos, and they're like, it's amazing, that boat. They're just driving towards Niagara Falls. And everyone on the boat's like, you're just as close as you can get to dissolving, that you're just getting, and the boat's like, it's like, retreat. They just like pull you as close as possible to the falls, and then kind of, okay, time is up. So there wouldn't be much of a relationship. It was just powerful light, powerful water in our case. So I want water. I'm still thirsty. Remember the story? I'm standing at Niagara Falls. So what do you need to do? You need to take pipes, stainless steel, and you need to put the water into the pipes. So what might you say at that point? Why are you restricting me? Don't hold me back. Why are you restricting the water? Now to that you say, what do you mean? Restriction is a good thing because I want water. So the pipes without any water is just pure din. That's pure judgment. That's pure gevura. You don't want that. That's like when people get a little bit too intense and they forgot that there needs to be water coming down the pipes. But you have water, you have pipes, and then you open up the tap, and I put my water there. That's called tiferes. That's called when everything is now in perfect balance, beautiful blend. Now I can drink a cup of water.
What, a transformer?
A transformer, yeah. Transformers would all be part of gevura, of limiting. The tiferes would be, I plug in my lamp and I see, wow, oh, it's perfect. It doesn't blow up the lamp. Okay, so back to chesed. We said that chesed is when there's so much energy coming into the system that everything starts getting blurred. So now I can understand why the Torah says when a man sleeps with his sister, that's called chesed. Because you're not appreciating that there needs to be boundaries here. Things you need boundaries. You need to be able to know this is okay, this is not okay. Pure chesed just drowns everything. So you have to harness the chesed. If a person says, oh, you want to hang out like after, yeshiva a little bit, and I'm doing this amazing thing, like we're all going to hang out, there's like some big stuff to do. So it's a very nice thing, I should just say yes, right? Chesed. There's only one problem. Sometimes you have to say no. You know why? Because your wife needs you for bedtime with the kids. So you might say, what are you saying no for? Be a man of chesed. Well, if you don't know how to say no, then you just get drowned in this world. So that's the world of chesed. That's the world of very, very intense flow coming into the world. And that's what was happening on Rosh Hashanah. God blows into Adam this soul. And now this soul becomes illuminated, but the soul is inside of a body. What's the body? The body's the Gevura, right? The body says, okay, here's some dimension, here's some delineation, here's speech. Speech is a lot of Gevura. Because you're saying this word and you're not saying that word. So you know what would be nicer, I think? You go on a date and you just sit in silence. And you just telepathically relate to each other. You like that idea, Michael? It's much, why do I want so much din? Just telepathically relate to each other. Or chesed. Just sing a single note to each other. And then she'll do one, and a lot of chesed, right? It'll just dissolve. It'll be a very funny day. So you need gevura to delineate into words and to talk about things. But chesed really is where it's at, right? Chesed is the beginning of the story. So I want to tell you a story. There was a king. You heard this one before? And the king had a son. And similar to what we were saying last night by the Slichus, the king's son lost his way. And he started to move away from the beauty of the kingdom. And the king had to ask him to leave the kingdom, even though it was only going to be temporary. But he made sure that he had to go and kind of grow up a little bit. Because sometimes if you grew up in the palace of the king, you never really grew up. If you grew up sometimes in a privileged place, a privileged home, a person is just everything coming to him. He never got to actually make his own moves in this world. And it's not a good thing. You have to get out there and do stuff. So too the prince. But this time the prince rebelled a little bit, and the father asked him to go and learn and make something. So what did the son do? The son, he put on civilian clothing, and he went and he learned a trade. He learned how to plow the fields. He'd never plowed a field before. He had people do that for him. He learned how to wash a dish. He never did that before. Who washes dishes in the palace? He learned how to make his bed. Who does that? By the way, all you guys should make your bed. It's very, very important. By the way, one thing that's always, this is a side point, one thing that's always on people's minds is they want to know, okay, so when I start dating, so like what are the shadchanim going to be looking for? I just had a couple calls, people today asking about guys for shadchanim. One of them is even in this room. You're like, oh Mike, who is it? So anyways, yeah, people are interested in high-level bachrim from Esha Torah. So people think, when they're going to come, they're going to maybe send the girl's rabbi to come to the yeshiva, check things out, incognito, put on like a little mustache, some glasses. Can I try these on? These yours, Dan? Trench coat. It's like all of us. So the rabbi's going to come in, he's going to be like this.
Who is this stranger?
All right.
Nothing to see over here, guys. I'm just. Anybody know? A certain bacher. Not that I'm looking for him or anything. I just I just wanted to see what he's doing, and he's like undercover. He's undercover.
I'm here to carry every style for you. I'm here to get
You like that?
Yeah.
Just switch the rabbinic style to go in that direction. So people think they want to come see the way that I'm in the base medrash, see the way that I learn in the base medrash, maybe come to davening, see the way I daven. The sign of how stable a person is, I'm telling you, I know it's a big statement. See what a guy's room looks like. Does he make his bed? Everyone's like, ooh, yeah, how about that one today? Does he make his bed? Is there wrappers, of like chocolate bars and, empty Pringle bottles and stuff?
Do people actually make their bed?
Is there this thing I call the laundry monster? It's like a pile. It's not even in a bag it's in the corner of the room usually, and it just kind of has been growing ever since last year, and it's like taking over the room. And at that point, you don't even know what's there anymore. So those are the signs of where a person's at, because the Kuzari says an amazing thing. I think about this all the time. The Kuzari says that you need to be a king over your government. What's the government? The government is your entire life. You need to run the way that I go to bed, the way that I wake up, the way that I learn, my davening schedule, am I eating healthy, am I not eating healthy, your psychology, your cardiovascular system, your endocrine system. You need to be the prime minister of this entire government. How are my finances doing? Do I have physical health, financial health? This entire government. You need to run that government. A major part of like things going is just the Dalit Amos of making the bed, and your shoes put nicely somewhere. It's very telling. Okay, so back to our story. So the king's son, the prince, was in a faraway place. And he started to get involved with all sorts of interesting things. He started learning, the dialects of the locals, a little bit more Ebonics. He started, Ebonics. It's like, get me some of dem, good. And that kind of stuff. Not really articulating his thoughts in refined ways anymore. And he was kind of losing touch with the place that he came from. Not to say that people that plow the fields aren't refined people. They could be the most refined. But he was going further away from the palace and losing touch and spending more times in the pubs and the bars and making a name for himself, like you say, in that place. Like, look at this guy. Look, whoa. Oh, and he's here. The way he can drink, wow. And by the way, another side point. This time of year, people also start to think, what are they going to say about me? What's going to be my legacy? No, what do my parents think about me? And it's not the only thing you need to think about, but there's something chashuv. What do my rabbanim think? What does my wife think about me? What do my kids think about me? What does Hashem think about me? What are they talking about me up there? And something that's very powerful is to think about, what are they going to talk about at my eulogy? We should all live until 120 years. But it's a very powerful thing, is what are they going to say about me? So sometimes I think about this thing in my head when I think about the story of the king's son going to some interesting places. And I think about, somebody who their whole life was just trying to become, really good at going to the bar and, so the eulogy is going to be something like, Joe, nobody could take down a cake stand like he did. I miss him. Whenever he was around, he had that way of just, rolling up a spliff like nobody could do. He knew what he was doing. When you had like 30 papers worth, you had to make something like a cannon. Joe, what's it going to be? What's it going to be? I know I'm being a bit, tongue-in-cheek, but what's it going to be? What are they going to say? What did we do? So the king, his son, wandered to far, far places, and he started to... And no matter how far a person goes, at some point something inside of the prince starts waking up and saying, this is not me. This is not me. And he felt, what am I doing here? I came to learn about the world and myself, but I lost myself in it. I got lost. And he's running back to the palace. And when he gets to the palace, the guards stop him. They say, "Excuse me, sir. What are you doing here?" He said, "I'm the prince. The prince." So I can't understand you. Your language has become coarse and unrefined. I don't know who you are. You're definitely not the prince. You're not wearing princely clothing. You've become affected by the world. I don't know who you are," the guard says. And he's screaming out, it's me, it's the prince. It's me, please, open up the gates. It's me, I'm home. I don't want that world. And the king is upstairs, but he just hears, "Guards, who is this crazy man? Make sure they, what are you doing? Get him out of here." And all of a sudden, the son says, "Ah!" And the father says, Oh, my son. That voice, that cry, that's the shofar of Rosh Hashanah. That pure cry that God blew, He blew a voice inside of us on Rosh Hashanah. And on Rosh Hashanah we blow that voice back up to God through the shofar. We're the shofar. God blew into us. And on Rosh Hashanah we blow that voice back. We don't even say it. We just scream it through the shofar. I want to come home. And I know my voice, I've gotten confused by things, but there's something that's still inside of me that's so pure, that's so pristine, that's untainted. That's why the shofar is our greatest weapon. It's the weapon of purity. Nothing can grab onto the shofar. The shofar is so pure. It's the pure voice. So my friends, get ready now. There's going to be a pureness that's going to emerge out of us on Rosh Hashanah that's so good, that's so pure, that every single one of us are going to remember. I'm the son of the king. I want to come home to the palace. I'm the son of the king. I want to come home to the palace. I'm the son of the king. I want to come home to the palace. And I want to stay in that palace forever and ever. Shivti b'veis Hashem, kol yemei chayai. And I never want to leave you, Hashem. Let's get ready for that voice. Let's get ready for that cry. And when we blow that shofar on Rosh Hashanah, we're going to arouse the great shofar, the Tikka b'shofar Gadol, the great shofar of Mashiach that's going to blow all the lost ones back to Yerushalayim, Yer HaKodesh, with Mashiach Tzidkeinu b'mehera v'yameinu. Amen. Have a wonderful day. Kol Tov, my friends.
Should we wait